years. It has been 692 days since the United States lost its top credit rating. What are we doing to get it back? Well, June was the first losing month this year for stocks. All indices ended the month down about 1%, but for the first half of the year, all of them are up between 12 and 14%. So it's still all in, has been a very lucky 2013. And now our fourth story out front on a Friday, a crack in the president's inner circle. The man once described as Obama's favorite general, retired General James Haas Cartwright, is under investigation. And it's regarding top secret material that appeared in a book written by the New York Times reporter David Sanger. According to NBC News, Cartwright may have leaked classified information about a virus. It was called Stuxnet, and it attacked Iran's nuclear program. In fact, when news of Stuxnet virus broke, Republicans accused the White House of actually leaking the information itself because they thought that it was going to boost the president's national security cred before the election. So what happened? Did the president's favorite general go rogue? We begin with Barbara Starr at the Pentagon on this. And Barbara, the president has made a huge show of going after leakers, investigating 9 so far. 7 have been charged, twice as many as all previous presidents combined in this country. You know, but Cartwright was his friend. Cartwright was his buddy.
What happened? That's really, isn't it? That's the question, Aaron. And I don't think anybody has an answer yet. We do know that General Cartwright, under investigation by the Justice Department, everyone's jaws dropped when this story broke because he is, you know, he may have his enemies, but he is a respected, retired 4-star military officer. This is not a guy who goes rogue. So you might wonder if maybe somebody in the White House originally encouraged him to discuss this program. Late today, his attorney fired back. His attorney, well-known Gregory Craig here in Washington, D.C., issuing a statement saying, quote, General Jim Cartwright is an American hero who served his country with distinction for 4 decades. Any suggestion that he could have betrayed the country he loves is preposterous. It doesn't really get stronger than that in terms of defending General Cartwright's honor. It does not tell us, however, specifically why the Justice Department is investigating him. So all of this still to be played out. And what we do know is that dozens and dozens of people have been questioned by Justice Department investigators in all of these leak investigations, and they are following up on the leads they're getting. Aaron?
All right, Barbara Starr, thank you very much. I mean, this is just an incredible story when you think about it. The president going after so many people for leaking, and this time someone who was so close to him, who, if this person did leak what he's accused of leaking, reportedly, was actually something that helped the president. Out front tonight, Bob Baer, our national security analyst here at CNN and a former CIA operative, along with Phil Mudd, a former CIA deputy director of counterterrorism and former senior intelligence advisor for the FBI. Phil, let me start with you, because this administration has gone after leakers like no other in American history. It is an unprecedented thing that they have done. More than twice as many espionage charges than all past administrations in the United States combined. Is the president justified?
I think he is, but you have to understand, the administration is not going after leakers. When I was in government and at the FBI, I saw leak investigations all the time. There's a process, 10 layers are roughly way below the president, where the agency where the information is leaked tells the Department of Justice, look at this problem, investigate it. The president has very little to do with that process.
All right, that's a fair point. Although obviously, you know, he's chosen to do this, or his administration has done this in a way that other administrations haven't, to use the term. Bob, I mean, do you agree? Or has this administration gone beyond what is necessary? I mean, after all, in this case, if this really is about leaking the Stuxnet virus, this is a close friend of the president's who, if he leaked it, leaked something that actually made the president look really good. You'd think the president actually said, go ahead and do it.
Well, I agree with Phil. These things start with a referral from whatever agency is involved. It goes to the Justice Department. But what's different now is the Justice Department is following up on these referrals aggressively.
Right.
A lot of the people that are under investigation believe it's because of phone metadata, all sorts of things, or even this new NSA programs. I don't know that that's true, but you know, it's a new game out there, and people in Washington are, how should I put it, paranoid. They're scared. They're scared of journalists. They're staying away from them. This is something entirely new.
They're scared of journalists. They're staying away from them, and that means a lot of information that would have gotten out before isn't getting out. Now, you can argue until the cows come home, right, about whether that information should or shouldn't get out. but no doubt it would have before. I mean, Phil, the president has talked a lot about transparency, which seems to fly in the face of this. You know, he had a Google chat earlier this year. He called his government the most transparent administration in history, and we've heard this from him quite a few times.
But you have to understand, there's a difference.
Let me say it as simply as I can. Transparency and the rule of law will be the touchstones of this presidency.
I think that the president's record on transparency is broad and significant.
So if he's all about transparency, Phil, why is he going after all these leaks, including ones that don't seem to, you know, threaten the national security of the country?
Look, there's a difference between transparency and telling people who took an oath not to violate federal law in terms of leaking, not to talk to the press. When I was at CIA and the FBI, in contrast to where I live today, talking to you, every time the press called me, my responsibility was to call the Office of Public Affairs and say, talk to CNN and tell them, call you first. Don't call me directly. The rules are not that complicated.
Bob, do you think, though, bottom line, that this sort of goes in the face? I mean, the president's trying to say he's transparent. On the other hand, you know, he's continuing these metadata collection programs and going after people who try to, well, put things out in the open.
Well, my feeling is that it's partly the government's fault because a lot of this information hasn't been compartmented. Something like the Stuxnet should have not been widely distributed. They should have known exactly who know about that operation. And you can confine this stuff within the government if you have the discipline to do it. And I think this is what should be done now rather than going after the press.
All right. Thanks very much to both of you. We appreciate your time.